the truth comes out, when the truth comes out, you can run but you know it's ending. At the bottom of the grave you're digging out, when the truth comes out.
Charlie Kirk was most likely shot on the instructions and in the style of the Mossad. He exposed the stench of Israeli Zionism and accused the Mossad of blackmailing American and world politicians. With the help of compromising recordings. New shocking information. September 12, 2025 on Wednesday, American conservative influencer Charlie Kirk was shot and killed during a speech at Utah Valley University in the USA. From the roof and from a distance of approximately 120 meters as the crow flies, an unknown shooter killed Kirk with a single shot from a powerful sniper rifle in the neck, hitting an artery. Anyone who has ever been to Israel immediately knows what happened. The Mossad is behind the assassination, which regularly executes Palestinian speakers in Gaza and the West Bank during demonstrations. It works the same way every time. The Palestinians call a demonstration and a speaker climbs onto the roof of a car, chants, shouts slogans and gives speeches. The Israeli army executes these speakers during their speeches with a sniper rifle shot in the neck as a so-called message that the person in question has been talking too much and needs to be cut off and silenced. That is why Mossad and IDF shooters always aim for the neck. To kill a person with a sniper rifle, they always aim for the body, for the so-called guarantee of a hit. The kinetic force of the bullet reliably kills the target, so they never aim for the neck or head. These are scenes from Hollywood movies and computer games. Snipers aim for the chest. But not the Mossad. The latter specializes in this and shoots Palestinians like this regularly. Above you have a montage of footage from the assassination, which captures not only the murder of Kirk, but also the shooter caught on a camera on the roof. The main speculation is the motive. And there is a lot of talk about Ukraine. But that is a false lead, because this is the work of the Israelis. And I will show you why. The Mossad is using Epstein's materials to blackmail both parties in Congress and world leaders. Before his death, Charlie Kirk allowed himself something that was a death sentence. As Trump's right-hand man during his election campaign, he came into close influence in the White House. And his star as an influencer began to turn into a political star. And just recently, on his show, he did something that no one in the USA had ever allowed himself to do before. He openly accused Israel and the Mossad of using Epstein's compromising materials and recordings for decades to blackmail the entire American political scene, both Democrats and Republicans. So everyone in Congress has to jump when Israel whistles, because it has leverage over them in the form of pedophile compromising materials. Because Israel has leverage over those Western politicians, compromising materials. Video footage of the rape of small children, but not only rape, but abuse, even torture and killing. All this is on those Epstein and Maxwell videos. And that is why Israel has such power. It is not love for Israel, although such cases can be found among the Tupelos from the crater of Europe. But that is a process of Khazarianization and favoritism, not love. It is compromising materials that Epstein's organization has produced and collected for politicians over practically 4 decades. Merazi K's archive in boxes, Chiquita, Bananas is a poor and insignificant archive of the local character of Samuel's merchant empire in the heart of Europe compared to Epstein's archive. Kirk represented an unmanageable threat to Israel, and Charlie Kirk dared to publish all this. It threatened that with his speeches about Israel he would awaken a new generation of uncorrupt politicians who would come to power in the USA, so that Israel would suddenly come and gradually lose its remote control over the American Congress and the White House through blackmail. And those Kirk rallies at universities, where he addressed young Americans with American patriotism, were copied by Trump's rallies. And it was impossible to risk Kirk establishing himself as a full political figure, which would have been absolutely inevitable. That is why he was silenced with a shot in the neck, symbolically, as a message that he had talked too much. That is the signature mark of the Mossad. Breaking: the FBI just released photos of the alleged shooter. Spread these everywhere as quickly as you can. Matt Wallace, September 11, 2025. There is no doubt that we will witness a false flag and some young man will be accused, will be labeled as the shooter, will be made an extremist. The young man cannot explain where he learned to shoot a sniper rifle with a shot to the neck, but that will not matter, because the media will make sure that these unpleasant questions disappear in the roar and chaos and no one will ask them out loud, except for the alternative. On Thursday evening, the first photos of the alleged shooter appeared. The young man in black glasses. According to information, he had messages, inscriptions, a manifesto written on the rifle. But even that has not been confirmed by evidence yet. Yes, we already know all that well from the past. The texts describing the rifle and the weapon are key to drawing the image and story of the perpetrator. And this has another dimension. A young man appears on the scene with a painted rifle and a strange story. While the shooting of Trump last year was carried out with many shots from a normal AR-16 assault rifle, with the shooter not hitting Trump, except for an ear wound, now the story is completely different. The shooter fired only one shot, a precise hit to the neck, and immediately evacuated from the roof. Professional work. And they will claim that the professional is some young man, an extremist and a lunatic with a painted rifle. This is exactly how it will unfold. Kirk dared to expose the stench of Israeli Zionism. He dared to expose the remote control by which Israel has been controlling all the political leaders of the Western world for several decades. Headed by the American government, Charlie Kirk was assassinated yesterday at a Utah event. Shooter on a rooftop approximately 120 meters, 131 yards away. Screenshot. Hoog YouTube. Drones could have stopped the killer by scanning rooftops and deterring threats via visibility. In the worst case, if ignored, drone. Trinji 2025. Charlie Kirk will receive the Presidential Medal of Honor, but unfortunately only in memoriam. During his lifetime, Trump never thought of it. They will name schools, streets, benches and other public space properties after him. But his talk shows will remain a conceptual moment, because it was once again confirmed that some things are not allowed to be discussed in the USA. And accusing Israel of blackmailing both political parties in Congress was simply too much. Americans at his demonstrations began to realize that Washington's loyalty to Israel did not stem from some feigned love for the ideas of Zionism, but that it was the result of blackmail. And so a Mossad operator simply finished him off with a shot in the neck. Some young man will now take his place and play the role of a crazy transgender, anti-Trump or pro-Bandera. Because I wouldn't be surprised if the assassination was also used as a tool against Ukraine. If a line of the shooter was created that he shot because Kirk didn't want to support Ukraine, we would see significant shifts in the American approach to Ukraine. And that would definitely remove the trace from Israel. We'll wait for further developments. VK Editor-in-Chief of AE News Source.